In the heart of what is now known as East Anglia, amidst the whispering reeds and winding waterways, a symbol of resistance once rose against the might of an empire. Her name was Boudica, a name that has echoed through the ages as a cry for freedom against oppression. Boudica, queen of the Iceni, a tribe whose roots ran deep through the soils of what we now call Norfolk and Suffolk, held a stature among her people that was born of respect and lineage. She was not merely a ruler but the embodiment of Iceni valor and dignity. The Iceni, a people of resilience and pride, lived in a society where the land and the people were inseparable. They cherished their freedoms, upheld their customs, and honored the warrior's spirit. It was a society where women like Boudica could command warriors and influence tribal affairs, a testament to their progressive social structure. Beyond the Iceni, the tapestry of Celtic Britain was vast and varied. From the rolling hills of Wales to the rugged highlands of Scotland, numerous tribes each held their own territories, traditions, and destinies. Yet, they shared a common thread, a fierce independence and a profound connection to their ancestral lands. But the world was on the brink of change. The ambitions of an empire loomed on the horizon, and with it, the lives of Boudica and her people would be forever altered. Join me as I journey back to these ancient shores where a queen's courage ignited a flame that burned in the annals of history. Britain, a jewel in the misty waters of the Atlantic, lay ripe for the taking by the greatest empire the world had ever known. The Roman conquest of this island was not just an expansion, it was a statement of power and reach. Before I proceed further, I have a humble request to make. I would greatly appreciate if you could support me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you, and now let's continue. The might of Rome did not march into Britain unopposed, but with each clash of sword and shield, the empire's grip tightened. Roman rule brought profound changes, forever altering the landscape with straight roads, grand villas, and bustling towns, symbols of a new order. Within this mosaic of conquest and civilization, Britain became a vital part of the Roman Empire. It was a land tasked with supplying grain, metals, and soldiers, all fueling the empire's insatiable engine. But the imposition of Roman ways was not always welcomed by the native tribes. Roman policies sought not only to govern but to assimilate. The conquered were expected to adopt Roman customs, pay Roman taxes, and acknowledge Roman gods. For many of the island's inhabitants, this was a yoke unfairly placed upon their shoulders, heavy with demands and scant with respect. Britain was more than a province, it was a strategic asset in the grand Roman strategy, a bulwark against the untamed north and a departure point for legions to other frontiers. Its conquest was part of a larger scheme of control that spanned continents and cultures, a testament to Rome's boundless ambition. In this crucible of empire building, the stage was set for collision. The embers of resentment smoldered among those who yearned for the days before the Roman eagles cast their shadows over Britain. And from these embers, a fierce defiance would soon erupt into flame, heralded by the Iceni queen, Boudica. In the shadow of Roman dominance, the fragile peace in Britain hinged on the relationships forged between Roman officials and tribal leaders. The death of King Prasutagus of the Iceni marked a turning point. He had hoped to safeguard his lineage by dividing his realm, bequeathing half to his daughters and half to Rome. But with his passing, Rome would show no honor to his will. The Roman response to the king's death was one of sheer contempt. The will was ignored, the royal family's autonomy stripped away in acts of unspeakable brutality. Boudica was flogged, her sovereignty flayed with each strike, while her daughters bore the violence of Roman conquest on their bodies. These atrocities would not suppress the Iceni, they would embolden them. The Iceni and their allies writhed under the yoke of Roman financial tyranny. Usurious taxes and the pilfering of resources left the tribe imperiled, their wealth and heritage commandeered by imperial decree. Their suffering was not silent, it was a clarion call for justice. Political and social grievances sowed the seeds of rebellion across the tribes. Roman encroachment, the erosion of rights, the subjugation of noble families, all contributed to a burgeoning revolt. In every heart, a yearning for the days of freedom grew stronger. The empire's disregard for Celtic religious customs and sites fanned the flames of dissent. The Iceni revered their spiritual practices, which Rome sought to dismantle. This cultural oppression threatened to erase a history written long before the eagle's arrival. In the crucible of Rome's disregard, a rebellion was forged. Queen Boudica would rise, a symbol of retribution and undying defiance. She stood poised to unite a fractured realm into a single force, one that would challenge the might of Rome and seek to reclaim the soul of Britannia. The call to arms thundered across the land, and the Iceni, spearheaded by their queen Boudica, answered with a resounding cry. From near and far, tribes united, each warrior burning with the desire to reclaim Britannia's freedom. The rebellion's first mark was Camulodunum, a bastion of Roman culture and power, which fell swiftly to the overwhelming force of the Britons. Its defenses crumbled, and the once mighty temple to Claudius was reduced to rubble, a powerful omen of the tumult to come. The fury of the revolt surged like a tidal wave, crashing into Londinium and Verulamium. Despite their significance, these cities were abandoned by the Romans to their fate, burnt to the ground, a testament to the incendiary wrath of the rebellion. Boudica's strategy employed the raw power of her numbers and the intimate knowledge of the land. Against her, the Roman response was calculated and deliberate, a testudo formation advancing amidst a hail of javelins, a discipline unbroken even in the face of overwhelming odds. The mantle of Roman defiance lay on the shoulders of General Suetonius Paulinus, a tactician of ruthless efficiency. He would meet Boudica's tempest with the immovable object of Roman resolve. Amidst the confluence of Watling Street and narrow defile, history would record the pivotal moment of the uprising. Here, Boudica's horde, a force of some 100,000, faced a Roman contingent, a fraction of their number, yet undeterred and strategically advantaged. In the narrow pass, the Britons' numbers, usually their strength, became their downfall. Hemmed in by their own, they could not maneuver, the Roman wedge formations cut through them with lethal precision. The Battle of Watling Street was a maelstrom, one from which the dream of Boudica's rebellion could not emerge victorious. As silence fell upon the fields that had rung with the clamor of battle, the legacy of the uprising lay amidst the fallen. Though the rebellion was quelled, the spirit of Boudica, the warrior queen who defied an empire, would resonate through time, immortalized by her unyielding will to free her people. As the dust settled on the battlefields of Watling Street, the landscape of Britain was forever changed. The uprising was crushed, but the reverberations of Boudica's defiance would echo through the corridors of power in Rome and across the ravaged provinces of Britannia. The immediate aftermath was grim. The Roman military, under orders from a vengeful empire, enacted brutal reprisals. Villages were razed, lands were seized, and a harsh peace was imposed upon the defiant tribes, a stark warning to any who would dare rise against the eagle. In the wake of the rebellion, Rome recalibrated its approach. Governance in Britannia was reshaped, a more conciliatory tone was adopted. Policies shifted towards restoration and integration, aiming to prevent such a conflagration of dissent from sparking anew. The long-term implications for Roman Britain were multifaceted. While the iron grip of Rome tightened, with structures like Hadrian's Wall marking a clear divide, the roots of Roman culture grew deeper, entwining with the native way of life. Britain was transformed into a land of dualities, of conflict and cohabitation, oppression and prosperity. The scars of the past became the foundations of the future. As centuries passed, the story of Boudica, from the anguish of her uprising to the resilience in its wake, became woven into the tapestry of an island that would never forget the queen who fought for freedom. The tale of Boudica has traversed through 2 millennia, immortalized in the writings of Roman historians like Tacitus and Cassius Dio. Though their accounts offer a lens into the past, it is a view clouded by the biases of Rome's imperial narrative. Yet, the soil of Britain keeps its own records. Excavations and archaeological endeavors continue to unearth relics that piece together a more nuanced portrait of the Iceni queen and her insurrection, offering a counterpoint to the written histories of her enemies. In the annals of British folklore, Boudica stands tall, a figure of fierce independence and unyielding courage. Her legacy is enshrined in stone and story, a symbol of resistance that has evolved and endured throughout Britain's own saga. That's all for today. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a great day ahead.